All right, Nick,
Love it.
buddy, the floor is yours. What were your thoughts on Baker in yesterday's game?
Well, while I was watching yesterday's game, I couldn't help but think about my wonderful colleagues from right to left on your television screens, Jenna Wolfe, Kevin Wildes, Brandon Marshall. So let's start with Jenna. Jenna, I was, I said on Friday I was muting the text thread from you. So I'm now going to go to it, unmute it, and see what I missed. Because I'm sure Jenna was texting during the game. 1 second, here it is. Wait a minute. First text I got from Jenna was Sunday at 7:52 p.m. You see what NBC is doing with Kornacki, breaking down the playoff possibilities. It's brilliant.
It's between us. That's just
Not a
between
single
us.
text. Not a single text during the game.
Nothing?
In fact, the only text
said
Jenna
I was
sends
muted.
me is the only text Jenna sends me is about a job she knows that I desperately want and think I should have, doing a touchscreen big board with probabilities. So she's actually needling me. So that's Jenna Wolfe. So she didn't want to text me. Then there's my buddy Kevin Wildes. Now Wildes, to be fair, doesn't deserve quite as much venom as Jenna and Brandon do when it comes to the Browns. But he's piggybacked on some of it. So to my buddy Kevin Wildes, all I would say is this. Baker Mayfield in the first half yesterday had 1 fewer touchdown passes than your guy Cam Newton has on the season. But I'm really saving most of this for Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, who 6 weeks ago said put in Case Keenum, and then Friday said, folks, this is what I need to see. A Browns win and 250 yards passing for Baker Mayfield. Well, how about a Browns win and 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half, en route to the highest scoring first half any team has had in the league all year? So I'm just wondering if folks want to send apologies to Baker, to the Browns, how you guys want to deal with it, Brandon, because they answered all your questions.
Yeah, I mean, that was the conversation on Friday. If he threw for 250 yards and a win, we should consider them as a contender. I'm willing to have that conversation. Jenna, you said something really interesting in your open. You said they beat a good team. You are right. They beat a good team and a terrible defense. Going into this game, we talked about it Friday. When you're going against the 28th ranked defense, 31st in pressure, they can't get to the quarterback. Of course he's supposed to do that. That's what we want to see.
Supposed to do
moving
that?
forward against the Ravens, he's supposed to do that. He looked great. Baker looked
supposed
great.
to put up 38 first half points. That's a high standard.
Baker looked good. They played their best game when Tennessee played their worst game. This is what you want to see in your quarterback. But can we see it more? That's the question. Can we see it more? That's the only thing I have. I have nothing against Baker. I'm just calling it how it is. Nobody will stand on the table and say, Baker is my franchise quarterback. He's going to lead us to a championship. Nobody's going to do that, Nick.
Well, so, Wildes, I don't know about you. I mean, I was here Friday. I think we all knew what defense they were playing. I didn't hear a lot of people picking the Browns to win. And as far as, well, they were a bad defense, he had the best first half of football any quarterback statistically has had against any defense all year. So if we're going to even qualify this one, then the easier explanation, Wildes, is we're just going to continue to hold them to an evaporating goalpost of standards. So when they don't win the Super Bowl, we can say they came up short.
You keep talking about this goalpost moving. The goalpost has been the same for all 32 teams, all quarterbacks, all defensive coordinators, all owners. It's to win a Super Bowl. Now, look, you talked about the defense. You brought it up. There was a reason why I brought it up Friday. I know what Baker is capable of doing against bad teams. That's why I said it. Against the Tennessee Titans, he should go for over 250 yards. Now, did he have a phenomenal first quarter? Did he have a phenomenal game? Yes, he did. And a lot of that, too, is Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski got his team in rhythm. Kevin Stefanski was creative.
Yeah.
It's great. But at the end of the day, it's two different conversations we're having, Jenna. Is it Is it
Right.
Baker? Is Baker good enough to be the quarterback of this team for the next 10 years? And also, can he win a Super Bowl? There's two different conversations.
All right, so let's stick with the latter. The Browns get the win. According to 538, they now have a 92% chance of making the playoffs. So we're saying there's a chance. And that begs the question, Nick, is it time to consider the Browns? And I can't believe I'm asking this, but the Browns at 9-3, Super Bowl contenders. You sort of have to, no?
Yeah, Wilds, if they were in the NFC, absolutely. But they're not. And they can't beat the Chiefs, but there's no shame in that. Nobody can. And so, yeah, I'm not going to call them a Super Bowl contender, and I'm not going to let you guys, and this is why some of this is for you as well, Wilds, because you got this ball rolling Friday. I'm not going to let you guys play three-card monte with the Browns. I'm not going to let you guys all of a sudden go from nobody, aside from me, saying they couldn't make the playoffs to, oh, well, now we have to evaluate them as a Super Bowl team. Therefore, if they don't make the Super Bowl, we can say they have fallen short. So, no, I don't view them as a threat to the Chiefs in the AFC, and that's who they'd have to go through. If they were in the NFC, I'd call them a real contender. That's what I would say, Wilds.
Okay. Well, you got every angle of this covered. You're here puffing your chest out because Baker played well, but you picked the Titans by 7. And then you say, oh, the Browns are great, but you won't put them in the Super Bowl because they're not beating the Chiefs. Drew Lock almost beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not, we didn't put them in the show today just because we wanted you to do your thing. The Chiefs aren't looking so great. Hey, Katana, can we run my favorite graphic of 9-3 teams that are went to the Super Bowl? We got some big winners on here, too. We got the Patriots won, the Steelers won, the Ravens won. The Browns, Nick, have the same exact record as the Packers. They're not. Are they better than the Packers? Are they worse than the Packers? I don't know. I'm a simple guy. They're both 9-3. The Steelers are undefeated. They could lose tonight. So I don't think the Chiefs are unbeatable. I think it's fair to say that the Browns are a Super Bowl team. Right. In the Baker quote that we just ran, job's not finished yet. What's the job? To get knocked out in the first round? I don't think he's like, I'm trying to get to the first round and get knocked out. I think he's talking about winning the Super Bowl.
Okay, I think he's talking about making the playoffs. I think the first step is making the playoffs. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Nick, it seems like you're the one that's playing three-card Molly. Tell us who this team is. Like you won't pick them to beat the Titans. You won't say that they'll win a Super Bowl. So who is this team, Nick? You know, and that's a real question. Because you sit up here and you try to jump on us for not falling in love with Baker, not falling in love with the Cleveland Browns. And I do want to correct you. That was never the discussion, will this team make the playoffs? Because if that was a discussion, the team can make the playoffs, especially when it's expanded and they're playing and the year set up this way. But it's about can they really sustain success at a high level?
Yes,
and the answer is no. No, they cannot. They cannot. Okay. They cannot. But I want to know who this team is.
They're a team that finally doesn't have one of the worst coaches in the history of pro football, whose quarterback all of a sudden is having a hell of a year, who's going to make the playoffs for the second time in a quarter century and the first time in 18 years. That's who they are. They're going to win 11 or 12 games. That's who they are. And this idea that it is just, I've never heard in media the standard of we are going to retroactively evaluate 31 of the 32 teams of the league that they must have had an unmitigated failure of a season. I'm old enough to remember us congratulating the Dolphins last year for getting to 5 wins because it was a step in the right direction. I'm old enough to remember when the Bills broke what was at the time the longest playoff drought, which now the Browns have. People said, wow, that is excellent for the franchise and shows they are moving in the direction they need to move to. I'm old enough to remember across all sports having the standard of walk before you run. And that is the standard I've held the Browns to. I have been consistent. I have never said they were a bad team. I've never said Baker's a bad player. And I've never said they can win the Super Bowl.
That's fine. That's fine. But the counter to that, there's not one damn player in a locker room saying that, yes, let's turn this organization around. Every single player in that locker room, there's two things they want. They want their money and they want a championship. Point blank, period. So all this other talk about the Bills and all these other teams, nobody cares about that. When I was drafted to the Denver Broncos, I didn't care about their history. I don't care about the Jets' history. I care about today. That's it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.